Hello there, everybody. It's so good to see you. I hope you can hear me. I've got a new microphone. Are you impressed? Okay. So, anyway, tonight's topic, as you may have seen, is don't let Trump steal your life. For next steps, come here. Now, that's very cryptic, isn't it? It's like, what does she mean? Well, I'm going to tell you what I mean. But first of all, let me welcome you to Lighting the Way with Beth Green and friends. And friends, I'll be bringing on a little bit later, as I always do. And please feel free to chat with us. But remember that I will not see your comment if you're on my personal Facebook page, only the public page, and also the YouTube channel. Okay, so give me a minute to explain. The dog is barking. Now it's James, how would you like to come and let the dog out? Thank you. So see, they can hear me, but you can't see them. Okay, so well, yeah, that's great. You still can't hear the dog? Okay. Um, so I was thinking a lot about how I feel these days with the upset that's going on in our nation and in myself. And I've been really, really upset. I find myself getting angry about all the things that are happening in our nation. And sometimes I actually feel ashamed. Now, when I say I feel ashamed, it brought me a memory of another time in my life. I mean, I feel ashamed of our nation, that we're mistreating people. Now we're throwing out international students, taking away their visas, incarcerating people in other countries with that due process and all of this. And it seems so cold and cruel. And I'm upset a lot. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about it. What can I do? What can I do? Okay. Well, I'm bringing this up for a real reason, and I hope that you will bear with me because um, there's a lot to talk about here. This reminds me of another time in my life. 1963, I first learned about the Vietnam War. And it got worse and worse and worse. And I felt that same kind of shame watching our nation napalming villagers. I believe that I read somewhere that Laos, we bombed Laos that wasn't even in the war, and that is the most bombed per capita nation in the world, at least at that time. And I felt a lot of shame and I felt a lot of angst and upset. It's like, how can I deal with this pain? I don't feel so much fear about what might happen to me, but I'm really upset about what's happening to our nation. And that war went on and on. The movement started, we started fighting back. It took a long time. You know that the war did not end until 1975, but we withdrew most of our troops by 1973. Okay, 1965. So I started in 1963. I was 18 years old. I started getting really upset about what the Americans were doing. And there were a lot of other things I was upset about too that our nation was doing, but this was the worst. And here it was. The war came to a conclusion when I was 30 years old. And what do you think happened to me? And just bear with me because you're going to get the point in a minute, I hope. What happened between 18 and 30? I was in constant turmoil, constant upset, constant shame, constant anger. And I always told myself and acknowledged to myself that the war in Vietnam had stolen my youth. Those years when you're supposed to be dating and being happy and, thinking about your life. And I couldn't. All I wanted to do was to stop this government. And, there was a lot of other things. The United States didn't really oppose apartheid until the mid 1980s, apartheid in South Africa. A lot of things to be upset about. And so suddenly I realized, and I think it was just this morning, it dawned on me that this is happening to me in my old age too. Now I'm 80 and I'm supposed to be relaxing and letting other people be in charge. And no, no, I am frantically trying to stop the administration. Now they're stealing my old age. It wasn't bad enough to take away my youth. So when I realized that, I got really mad at me. I mean, I can't be mad at them for this. I have to be mad at me. What am I going to do differently this time? So I made this decision that there is something else that I have to do. So, yes, I feel anger and yes, I feel shame. But now I'm going to feel joy. So when I say to you, don't let Trump steal your life, I mean, if you've been very upset and stressed out and can't sleep and feeling maybe shame like I'm feeling or fear, whatever it is that you're experiencing, then I want you to listen to this because we can defeat this without losing our lives. Don't let these horrible people steal your life, your sanity, your equilibrium. So, what are we going to do? So, the question that I put into this thing is next steps. What for the next steps come here? Well, the first next step is relaxation. Now, how do you relax when all of this is going on? Well, I have to admit to you that if bombs were dropping or I was in an El Salvador gulag, um, I would, have a little difficulty relaxing. But I'm having difficulty relaxing and I'm living in my own house. And yeah, there's financial issues like what's happened to our little retirement and all of that stuff, which wasn't that much to start with. Charlie wants to come in now again, James, so if you don't mind. It's a good thing James can hear me. James is my husband. He'll be on later. So, um, I try meditating. I try listening to happy music, to relaxing mood, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But you know what it is that I didn't have in my awareness was what I'm telling you now. I am not going to let this lousy government steal my old age. And I'm going to suggest to you that you not let it steal your life either. What does that mean? That means we give ourselves permission to relax. And now I'm going to tell you another reason why we should do this. Not only because we don't want them to win and they automatically win if we're like nervous wrecks, right? But also because there are so many people fighting back. Today, James went to a demonstration at the Oregon State University because the Trump administration is canceling the visas of students, 13 students at this college, and it makes your stomach turn over. But James went to a demonstration, and there was like 400 people there, and they were all protesting. And there was 30,000 people came out to hear Bernie and AOC in Folsom, which is in a kind of a red area of California, and so on. So what we need to do is enjoy what's going on, enjoy the resistance. Harvard has just said no to Trump. Yay. And a whole bunch of other colleges are now getting together in a kind of a mutual support pact to resist the assault on academic freedom and thought in this country. We are having an incredible upsurge of angry people. They're showing up in those, uh, uh, what do you call those things? Town halls where the Republicans are, and sometimes with Democrats too. So, and even the Democratic Party is getting more gumption. Senator from Maryland went down to Salvador to try to find out what to do about Kilmer Obrega Garcia. And there's a group from the Congress people who are trying to do the same thing. So let's enjoy this moment. Let's not just focus on all the pain and all the suffering that this is causing, but we should rejoice in the resistance. It wasn't always like this. During the Vietnam War, it took years before people even started paying attention to the war. There had to be a lot of body bags coming back of American citizens before that took place. And so I would say this is an amazing time. And it's a time where people are beginning to realize that we need to rely on one another, that we need more love, we need more mutual support. I could say this for 100 years. I have said it for 100 years. These aren't things that just came to me. Oh, yeah, mutual support, oneness, accountability, mutual support. No, these are things that I've been saying for years, but nobody was listening. I mean, very few people listened. Now people are just doing it. Let's be joyful. Let's be joyful and appreciate this moment. Now, so the next step is relaxation, and joy helps us to do that. And recognizing the contributions of other people, looking at the resistance and seeing how widespread it is. All of this is giving us the ability to relax. I can say, I don't have to stop this all by myself. That is very stressful. You know, I'm going to do my part, every bit of my part that I can. But I don't have to stop the Trump administration by myself, because there's lawyers out there and universities and everyday people and workers. And tell you, there was over 12,000 people I think 12,500 people who met Bernie in Boise, Idaho, which is a very red state. So take heart. Don't have your stomach turned upside down. Now, I want to tell you something else about next steps. We have we are the Stream. We are a nonprofit organization. I don't talk about the Stream that often because we talk about the topics. But we have a website called thestream.info, INFO, see, instead of .com, because it's not available. But thestream.info is. But we have a page called thestream.info/next steps, as one word, next steps. And if you go to the Stream by Info and you don't remember the next steps, you'll see little feet on the page, and you click on that and it'll take you to the next step. And it talks about all the things that we can do now, as starting with the new Declaration of Independence. And I want to say that people are more and more receptive to the idea. Because at first, when we started talking about the new Declaration of Independence, people said, oh, yeah, that's too, oh, yeah, that's so, whatever. But now everybody gets it. We have an oppressive government that is very dictatorial. We all see it. Nobody can deny it anymore. And we need to say, that's not me. I am going to differentiate myself from this government. I am declaring my independence from this horrible, exploitative government that is hurting people with no care whatsoever. And so you can sign the new Declaration of Independence. You can, and not only does it say we oppose this, but it also says what we want instead, which, by the way, is what our original Declaration of Independence was all about. It was about fighting against oppression, and it was about instituting another government. And that's what we need to do, is institute another government based on this premise that the purpose of the government and the economy is to meet the needs of people and the earth. So on that next steps page, you'll see the declaration, the new Declaration of Independence. You'll see contact information about us. You can sign up if you're interested in anything we're going to be doing. There's also Music, relaxing music. If you need to relax, just go in there and we have 10 songs on a playlist. I mean, we're trying to cover our bases. And there's a bunch of other stuff. So we can, if we relax, guys, not only is Trump and company and Elon Musk not stealing our lives, but also they don't steal our brains because the more anxious and upset and angry and frustrated and fearful we are, the less clearly we can think. We all know this. Relax, relaxation makes us more aware and alert and helps us to continue down the path of next steps, next steps, next steps. For some, the next step may be signing this petition. For some, it may be going to a demonstration. For some, it may be suing the government. Who knows? But it's all together in unison. So check it out, the stream.info/slash next steps. And now I'm going to bring on my esteemed guests. Okay, Lizzie Treehart, can we hear you?
Hi.
Yes, we hear you
Yay.
perfectly. Yeah, how did that happen? No. Great. Here is Todd Benton.
I bet you can hear me too.
I can hear you. And this time, let me see. Oh, well, I'll see if you're covered up or not. James Maynard
Hello, hello. Happy to be
and
here.
Amy Canner. Yay.
Hi.
This sounds like people at the
Yay.
boxing ring. So, oh, good. I'm glad you're over there because Todd, a lot of times your name covers up your face. So
Oh,
everybody's here. I'm so
I'll
happy
sit
to
over
have
here more.
you.
Other way. I'll sit
No,
over here
no,
more.
no, no, you're fine. You're fine. You don't have to move. So, Amy looks like the thinker, and we're all here, and I'm so happy to have you. And would you like to comment? So I know it was a long story, but I had to talk about the pain that I was feeling about those days because I think you all relate. Yes,
I
Amy
did.
has her hand
Yeah,
up.
great.
Well, I remember sharing with you, Beth. This was back when before Trump was elected the first time, and I was walking with the friends during COVID, and we're taking long walks, and we were talking about him, and I said, Trump just ruins our walks, and you said, no, Trump doesn't ruin your walks, you do, because you're choosing to talk about it,
Good point.
and that was right. And what I've been doing lately is if I see something that he's doing in the news, on my phone or wherever it is, I don't even look at it. I only look at the things where it says so, and the judges trying to bring him up against contempt of whatever, or signs a petition to get that fellow out of the prison, the one who's been was incorrectly sent, or whatever. But not so looking at what people are doing to resist, like you say, or stand up, as opposed to what he's doing, because I know what he's doing is a mess. And it only gets me down to read it.
Mhm.
And as you say, it's up to us if we let him steal our time, because we're the ones who decide what we're going to listen to, talk about, think about, and do.
Very good point. If we spend as much time thinking about our next steps and what we can do as we do stressing out, we would be ahead of the game because there's a lot of people to talk to, and I love the fact that it's happening. So, thank you for that comment. Yes, James.
Yes, I want to follow on from what you were sharing about my experience today. It felt like a very happy, unified feeling to be with hundreds of people all coming together with a common purpose. We did a march all over the campus of OSU, and we were chanting every step of the way. And it was just such a feeling of unity, and it was really joyous. And And so that's one of the things that I feel if we come together around a common purpose, whatever it is, like this, we feel better about ourselves and we enjoy our lives better. And by the way, I also want to say that I've been listening to your music at night to calm me down, and it's made a wonderful difference. I was having some very bad dreams before, and now I'm feeling so harmonious, and I sleep better and I sleep longer. And I don't have those bad dreams anymore. So, hey, check it out, people. This playlist of these songs is really helpful.
Thank you. Some of the songs are about courage and strength and all of that, and some of them are very calming. And In fact, there's a song that I did on that strange instrument that, it's a digital instrument, and it's called We Can't Be Bought. And it is very strengthening, but it's also very soothing at the same time. And so, yeah. And if you want more of the music, I think we have it in our little blurb before. The healingartsnetwork.org is full of free music and books and so on. So let's nurture ourselves. So that is so wonderful to hear. Thank you, James. Yes, Todd.
Well, I love what you said because it was in line with what we talked about in intuition training on Saturday. I mean, Sunday, about like how our past and how we related to things in our past affect us now. And that's what I felt you were saying. And I could see how much my fears of my father play into, because my father was violent. He, spanked me, but also just was, I mean, he was loving also, but it was confusing because he was also not, not nice a lot of times, spanking me and getting mad at things that seemed like blown out of proportion, which I know I've done with my own children. I never spanked them, but I've gotten mad at them for things that I was probably dealing with that I wasn't dealing with that I took out on them, But the point is everything. So I feel really that this topic is so good for everybody because I think if we all take a look at that and how it ties into our upbringing, trauma we've experienced, things that we don't like, it helps us to go, okay, I get it. I get why I'm having such a visceral response here now in this moment, even though I'm an adult, and what can I do to, like you say, calm myself? What can I do to go on a diet of media that supports me, instead of fuels and amps me up? I want to be informed, but I don't have to dwell on it. I can look at the headlines and go, okay, got it. Kind of
Right.
like Amy was saying.
Yeah.
But because I I tend to do that, I tend to feed it instead of feed the bad wolf rather than the good wolf. So I'm glad that you just brought this into my awareness again, so I can keep like navigating. It's like navigating. You're going down the road and there are cars crashing, and you have to kind of work your
Yeah.
way through it as you're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
that's
really true. I mean, you've expanded it because I was talking about just the guilt and the shame and the upset, but you're also referring to other things in our past that can get re-triggered, like fear. I had
yeah.
considered actually doing this show about fear because a
Mhm.
lot of people are very fearful, and it's very helpful to take a look at where does this fear come from. Not only are there fear making things happening in our society, but a lot of us grew up afraid and had a lot of fear in our childhoods. um, but I don't know. This came at me because
Mhm.
I was crying again today. I've been
Uh,
crying almost every day.
hmm.
That's the way it was from the time that I became aware of the Vietnam War until it was over. I cried every day.
Wow.
Well, Todd, I don't think you were around at that time. Aware.
I was born in 1964, so I could feel it in the background. I was 10 years old in 1975 when I think the war was finally over. So
Yeah.
it was a big part, but I wasn't aware of it as in a way that you were. You were of
Mhm.
like a level of consciousness that as a child you just, it's like, okay, there's a war in the world, and it's,
Yeah.
yeah. I could
Yeah.
see if I was that age, and just the heinousness, the violence, and just the sickness that it expressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually read today because I was kind of curious about those dates. I went back and looked at the Vietnam War, and they
Hmm.
said 500,000 American soldiers deserted.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't sound possible. I think later on they said that that number became conscientious objectors and went to Canada to avoid the draft. So I don't know if that's an accurate number, but a lot of US, even if they didn't desert, they were smoking dope, they were taking drugs. They
Yeah.
became more and
Mhm.
more upset and alienated, and it just destroyed our soul. And so many people believed
Mhm.
the lies that we were being told about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Yeah,
around for that
yeah.
also. And a boyfriend of mine in college was number one on the birthday draft to be drafted just before the draft ended.
Wow.
So I
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
remember
I
that.
mean, people were just and it really, really impacted people, and here it is again, we couldn't believe it. So, Lizzie, would you like to share next?
Yes. So I started crying when I saw tonight's title for tonight's show.
Um,
Is last night I was not in a good space. I was definitely in fear, even though just, a couple of days ago we talked about in intuition training, if we go into fear, then we let Trump win. But, we can be fearful, but we don't have to let it overtake us. But I
mm,
was just beside myself. I um, thought about why, and I'd like your support to see if it feels right as far as my theory in this, because my
mhm,
mom made a decision in her life to not face something of as far as who she really was. She decided to marry and had a bunch of us kids, and so she hid. And in my life, I've chosen to not hide, but yet I've learned from her to not face it. So I think I was wanting to run.
mhm.
Does that feel like that was a core?
Um, what you said, you got all the right pieces, but they're not quite strung together quite on the nose. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can string these together. But for those of you who don't know, I am a counselor. That's how I make a living. An
An
intuitive
intuitive
counselor.
counselor.
Okay, so you're right. Your mother did choose to hide. And how did she feel about it?
Not good.
That's right. She had a lot of grief,
Mm.
but she couldn't admit that she was feeling grief because that would have been such an assault on her sense of that she made the right choices in her life, like, oh, she did the right thing. So she didn't. So she could not let herself grieve. So instead she became angry. Because the anger, I think I've hit it, right? Because being angry allowed her to express the emotion, but not as what it really was, because then she wasn't really responsible for what happened to her. And if she had felt grief, she would have realized that she was responsible because she had made those choices. Not that it would have been easy for her to make any other choice. I'm not saying it would have been easy. So that was it. It was a way of deflecting from the grief about herself and how she chose to live her life. And instead, she got angry. So now I'm going to give you a chance to connect all of those. Oh, and Jeffrey said, cheers. Thank you. Jeffrey. Yay. So, Lizzie, how does this? So, is it that you're feeling grief?
Am I feeling grief? I thought I was feeling fear.
I mean, excuse me, I got so distracted by Jeffrey and his cheers, and thank you. And he put up these cute emojis and everything. I love it. Fear. Were you feeling fear?
I thought it was.
Okay, so supposing you weren't. So,
Okay.
based on what I just said to you, and I don't know why I'm making it so hard instead of just telling you what the connection is, but I feel like you can put this together and it'd be very meaningful for you. That what it really was is your mother was feeling grief about the choices that she made, and she became angry. And what are you doing?
Am I actually feeling angry
Yes,
to cover up my fear?
yes. So you're getting angry to cover up your fear. And what is your fear?
Well, that ultimately that I'll be killed, or
No,
no.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no,
That
no, no. Your fear is that you're going to cave.
oh.
You're afraid you're going to cave. So if you keep yourself angry, you'll be revved up and mobilized. And
Mm.
oh, then I won't
I'm
cave.
going to cave as far as like give up and leave the country.
Not necessarily, you may not be able to leave the country, but no, just give up the fight.
Mm.
See, your mother didn't fight for herself,
Mm.
and she covered it up with anger. So what you're doing is you're really afraid that you're going to follow in your mother's footsteps, that it's just going to be too hard and that you're going to give up on any kind of sense of integrity. That is just a fear that you might do that. And so what do is you stay angry to keep yourself going.
Mm. Wow.
Your real fear, I mean, you could say, oh, you're afraid of the, really? I don't think so. So I think what you're really afraid of is that you are going to cave like your mother did. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah. I feel that.
Yeah. So get angry, right? To keep yourself going. You don't need to be angry. You already know it's wrong. You're going to stand up to it because it's wrong. You don't need anger to motivate you, to help you. Oh, you don't need anger to overcome your fear. The fear is just a normal little nothing part of life. The fear is of you. I know in myself that I believe that we have to make this fight, and I'm going to do it. And I don't have to fear that I'm going to give in. And so I don't have to stay fearful and I don't have to stay angry. I can relax knowing that I'm in. And coming back to the topic, I can relax because I already know that I'm going to do this. I saw Amy had a hand up.
Oh, I just say that I have used anger to avoid other feelings.
Yeah.
That's been pointed out to me lately, working with Beth. It's a way of avoiding something I'm afraid of,
Mm-hmm.
not caving, but something else. And that actually, I think my homework was to envision interacting with people without feeling like I'm going to be overtaken by their agendas,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I've been trying to avoid. And being angry has helped do that, except it's also made me alone.
Right. So you can stand up for yourself without being angry. That's a very good parallel because, Lizzie, you can fight without being angry. And James was just talking about that, about what he experienced at this demonstration. I mean, people are angry about what's happening, but the energy of the demonstration was joy and cheering and, giving each other support. Yes, James?
Before I went to that demonstration, I was feeling a lot of anxiety. And ever since my father also punished me physically, I've had a fear of the man. And so it was a big step for me to just come and be with these people, protesting and advocating for what they felt was right. And I was right there with them. And my anxiety just disappeared, dissolved. And so as you're talking about next steps, anytime I take these steps, I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling good within myself.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So, what we need, one of our next steps is I'm suggesting that you get in touch with us if you're interested, because we may start doing some webinars where we bring people together to talk about what to do with the new Declaration of Independence or how to handle other kinds of things. And we're asking you to give us your email, because if you sign the new Declaration of Independence, we do not get your email address. It goes to change.org. But if you want to be kept in the loop, please give us your email. And we're also giving away a free book. All of this on one page. Spring.info/next steps. Well, I think that the next step is try to bring this show to a close. But does anyone have any last minute thoughts or feelings? Are you okay, Lizzie? With that
Yes, I just wanted to summarize the points. So the first point is to relax, and to relax to feel joy, or
relax,
feeling
feel
joy.
joy. Yeah, relax, feel joy, become clear. The minute you start to relax, you could start thinking more clearly, more strategically, and you will be feeling the love. And feel the love will make you relax. The relaxation will allow you to feel the love. The joy will make you relax. As you relax, you're able to feel more joy. Don't let them steal your life. Don't let them steal your soul. Don't go along with what's wrong, but feel empowered to work with others to fight for what's right and for what we all want. So please read that new Declaration of Independence and see if you don't agree with us. Yes, Amy?
Well, I like that what you're saying is against the so-called common knowledge of, I've seen stickers where it says, if you're not angry, then you're not in touch with what's going on. That's not true. You can be in touch with what's going on and not be angry. Being angry, and I
Exactly.
see it all over Facebook, doesn't get anywhere. It's an initial response, and as you say, it's suggests that something's wrong. But if you stay there, then you have no more power or clarity. So it
Exactly.
would go
Exactly.
against the expectation that the way to show that you don't like what's going on is to be angry and stay that way
Right.
if
Right.
it's not helpful.
Exactly. Well, I did have a show a couple of weeks ago called Anger to Awareness,
Hmm.
Mm,
from
yeah,
shock to wisdom. So, yes, the anger tells us something wrong, and we are aware, and we are going to do something about it. Yes. Okay.
yes.
Well, would you please like or love this show on Facebook? Would you please give it a thumbs up on YouTube? If you're on YouTube, would you subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell? And if you're on Facebook, would you follow our page? And if you're on my personal page and you leave a comment, I'll never be able to see it during the show. And you can always leave a comment after the show on any of these things. And keep on keeping on. Remember, come to our thestream.info/next steps. It's in the blurb as well. So you don't really have to remember it, but I'm reminding you to remind yourself to read the blurb and get all the support you can from that page. There's a lot ahead. And
Mhm.
I believe, that
Oh,
Blanquita,
Blanquita, we were talking about her on
yes,
Sunday.
about the Spanish. Hola, Blanquita, ¿qué tal?
Yeah, hola.
So, there's a lot yet to come, and as I said in the blurb today, there is so much creativity. There's so much
Mhm.
courage. There is so much going on. I love it. Look how incredible people are. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, Americans are not going to do anything." Well, it just so happens we are. And so let's not take that attitude. Let's just see the value of what people are doing. Feel pride in being an American because there are so many Americans who are standing up.
Good point. It's easy, like you said, to be ashamed instead.
That's right. So here we go. So come back tomorrow to Magical Improvs, where James and I play music that we think is beautiful. It's improvised, and we often play to themes, like whatever theme that needs to be: courage or
Yeah.
resistance or love or spring, seasonal allergies, whatever it is. So that's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And come back next week on Wednesday. So that's Thursday. And Wednesdays is 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Lighting the Way. And by the way, if there's anyone who might be interested in interviewing me, or anywhere that you think people would enjoy hearing what I have to say on any of these many, many topics, please let them know and put them in touch. So until then, bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.